Here's the pattern that I made and used. As you can see, the width went all the way to 5 1/4 inches. I even did the centimeters in there, because some people use centimeters, so it goes all the way to 13 centimeters. The height, it went all the way up to 5 3/4 inches or 15 centimeters. Now, the point is going to be at the top, and that is 4 inches. And at the bottom of the point, you're going to want the point to be at 3 5/8. So I took the pattern and laid it down on a folded piece of fabric, wrong sides together, and I put needles all the way around to hold the pattern to the fabric so that I could cut it all the way around. Don't add any extra, and if you do around the top part, it won't go around your nose comfortably. It'll be too loose. But if you need it a little bit bigger, your head's a little bit bigger, you can readjust the size at the bottom of the mask. You can add more at the bottom, or you can take away. So you would have to make one to see if it fits for your face. And you sew right sides together. And now I'm going to do the same thing with the inner piece, which is my white piece. I did the same thing with this one. I traced it and cut it out, and so now I'm cutting the curved part. This will be the inside of my mask. Then you put the right sides together. And we're gonna sew the top part. I could have sewn it without the needles, but I went ahead and put the needles in there just to show you the right way to do that. So you can keep the material aligned and you'll have a perfect sew. So one of the problems that I had when I was sewing is I was starting too close to the edge where you start. So I would suggest to go about 1/4 way down before you start. So we finished sewing, and now I'm taking out my needles, getting ready to do the bottom side. Okay, so I started from the middle to make sure the seam aligned. And remember, when you put your needles in there, have the head sticking out just a little bit so it won't mess up the sewing needle. Align the edges as best as you can. I decided to make these masks because if we get to start going to work, I want to have enough masks for every day. And you go all the way across till you get to the end. And you don't want to sew the sides together because that's where you're going to be pushing the material through to make it flip inside out. Now we're ready to sew. Okay, now we're going to pull the fabric through, and this is why we don't sew the sides yet. But pull it through. And then we're gonna get it ready to iron. So we'll have a more flatter piece. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and iron it down so we can have two nicely pressed seams. Give it a more professional look. Really, really beautiful. And you press it down. And then where the seam is open, you want to fold it back about 1/4 of an inch and iron those sides down. And this is why you don't sew all the way around. Do both sides. Some of us are visuals, some of us are audio, and some of us are hands-on. Ready to go? So we need 2 pieces of elastic, and I went ahead and measured it to 6.5. I marked it, and then I cut it, and then I made 2 pieces that are equal in size. Okay, so this is the part where we actually sew the elastic on. So I put the elastic inside of there, and instead of starting it right at the tip, I went ahead and started it at the bottom because my needle was getting stuck. But we'll reinforce that later. So you go ahead and sew all the way through, and when you get to the end, you reinforce it. But I messed up. I had to stop the sewing and put the needle in, save my spot, pick up the foot, and then my elastic got to go in there. There is a madness to this perfection. Once you do it over and over, you learn. So you get to the end and you reinforce it by sewing, going back and forth about 2 or 3 times. And then you cut it, and then you flip it, and then you do the other side. Almost done, guys. Don't give up. I know you can make one. And there you go. This is the finished product. There you go. What do you think?